Last week, Pope Leo XIV hinted that he wants to start fresh on one of the trickiest problems left by the Pope before him. At a time when millions of believers are really hoping for a fresh start, what he said opens up brand new possibilities. Stick around to find out all the details. What's now coming to light could change everything. There's an agreement that's been moving in the shadows of the Vatican buildings for a long time, an agreement we've never heard the full story of, but its effects are really tough on Catholics suffering in China. We're talking about the controversial secret deal between the Vatican and the communist government of Beijing, signed in secret when Francis was Pope. At first it was overseen by former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, who has since passed away and was also involved in big scandals. The Pope's signature made it official. Cardinal Pietro Parolin was its most loyal keeper, and the Vatican has stayed quiet about the whole thing. It's a cold silence, but it says a lot. The key to the deal is simple, and at the same time, it's shocking. The Chinese Communist Party, which is not religious and is a dictatorship, gets to be directly involved in picking the bishops. So, what this means is, religious power bows to political power. In return, Rome got vague promises of recognition and what seemed like peace. But this peace came at a very high price: the suffering of the faithful, the betrayal of those who practice their faith. And it makes a system seem right, a system that wants to uproot the true church and replace it with a government-controlled imitation. This dynamic creates a facade of harmony, masking the underlying control and manipulation. The news we've been getting for a while now is pretty clear. Really old church areas are empty, with no spiritual leaders, bishops are in jail or have just vanished, priests are forced to listen to church leaders that the government just made up, kids are not allowed to go to church, and during church talks, they have to mention the country's leader. And while Rome was signing secret deals and talking about being careful with new steps, in China, religious folks were losing their special church ceremonies, their leaders, and a lot of times, even their freedom. The situation remains dire, with no clear resolution in sight. One of the most worrying things the government has ordered is that kids and young people can't go into churches. With this one decision, Beijing is trying to stop faith teachings from the very beginning, silence the voices of tomorrow's Catholics, and by doing this, hurt the church's very future. However, the resilience of the young faithful shows that hope and faith can never be fully extinguished. But it's the bishops who've really been hit hard by this persecution, and it's been done in a really cruel and planned-out way. At least 10 of them are in jail or kept all by themselves or watched really, really closely. And their only crime? Staying loyal to Rome, and others have just disappeared like Monsignor Zhang from Xinjiang. He was arrested while he was getting better after surgery for a tumor, and he hasn't been seen since. This is a tragic and ongoing issue. You see, whole church areas have gone without a leader for years, and the government, their timing almost like a cruel joke, used Pope Francis's passing to name 2 new bishops who sided with the government, all without the Pope's okay. This has left a significant leadership vacuum, causing unrest among the faithful. The church is now at a crossroads, seeking guidance and a new direction. In many cases, the new bishops were chosen from the members of what they call the Chinese Catholic Patriotic Association, a government group that the church doesn't see as real, and that Beijing uses to control the church and take away its Catholic identity. The Vatican so far has stayed awkwardly quiet or sent confusing messages, while bishops from all over the world have looked the other way. The Patriotic Association, established in 1957, aims to ensure that the Catholic Church in China aligns with the policies of the Chinese Communist Party. This has led to significant tension between the Vatican and Beijing, as the Church struggles to maintain its autonomy and spiritual integrity. Last Sunday, when he looked out from the window of the Apostolic Palace to lead the Regina Coeli prayer, Pope Leo XIV made a move that many experts have called sensitive, but very, very important. The atmosphere was filled with hope and anticipation as the faithful gathered in unity. This moment marked a new chapter, a beacon of hope for the future of the Church. It was a super quick moment, almost hidden right in the middle of a regular speech, but it hit like a lightning bolt for those who know what's happening to the Church in China. After weeks of the Vatican being quiet, the Pope decided to speak out. And he did it like a true diplomat, super skilled, with lots of class, very balanced, but his words were as sharp as a sword. His subtle message resonated deeply, hinting at a new direction for the Church. It was a moment that left everyone wondering what the future holds. He started by remembering the martyrdom of a Polish priest, Stanislaw Kostka, who was beatified in Poznan for being murdered in 1938 out of hatred for his faith. The reason? His constant work for the poor and workers annoyed followers of communist ideas. It's not hard to see he's making a comparison here with what's happening in China today. There too, the real church leaders are taken out, not with guns but with jail, being kept apart, and by silencing them. Right after that, the Pope reminded everyone that on that very day, they were celebrating the Feast of Mary Help of Christians, and along with it, the Day of Prayer for the Church in China, which was started by Benedict XVI. He talked about the whole church being united, and about suffering, and about showing joy, and even when things are hard, important words, and very clear too, especially when you think about where he said them, and with that gloomy feeling that's been over this open wound for years. The message is clear. Pope Leo XIV is starting to move away from old agreements. It wasn't that stuffy, formal talk you usually get from Vatican diplomats, and not like the super serious talk from official spokespeople either. This was different. It was a voice that, yeah, still sounded a bit official, but you could just tell it was taking a stand. Being quiet isn't okay anymore. The suffering of Chinese Catholics can't be given up anymore just for a weak deal with a government that doesn't accept Christ or his church. Pope Leo XIV's message on China is strong, but it seems to have some mixed signals. On one hand, he bravely spoke up about the sad situation of persecuted believers. On the other, in the same speech, he strongly pushed Laudato Si again, Pope Francis's famous letter. He really praised its big impact, praising projects inspired by its message to care for the earth. This two-sided message pretty much confirmed what many people had already noticed. Leo XIV shows he's a pope who can talk about the age-old topics, but he doesn't drop the newer ways of speaking from the last pope. He's firm in the teachings, but also open to different cultures. A balancing act? Maybe. But in times of martyrdom and oppression, that balance is risky. It can just become unclear where you stand. It was Nina Shea, director of the Center for Religious Freedom, who asked Pope Leo XIV to make a clear decision, and she said it straight out. When she spoke on the EWTN channel, she gave an important warning. This warning really got a lot of people talking, especially the followers who were paying close attention and were really angry. It's time to end the secret agreement between the Vatican and China. Enough with these tricky talks. Enough with the cover-ups. The truth must be told without making things up. Shea painted a really tough picture for us. More than 30 church areas don't have a bishop. 10 real bishops are in jail or have gone missing. And the government in Beijing keeps putting in more bishops, even when the main church leaders don't agree one bit. His message was clear. Pope Leo XIV now has a unique opportunity. The world is watching him with hope. Chinese believers want justice. Delaying means he's part of it. If this new pope really wants to honor the martyrs, let him show it with real action. Reject those appointments, reveal the secret agreement, and stand with the people who are being mistreated. Pope Leo XIV's time as pope is starting. Things are a bit confusing, but there's a lot of hope. We'll have to see if his words will soon become real actions, especially when the church really needs to explain how it feels about its people suffering. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment amen. God bless you.